Welcome to Redeeming Thunder and Daughters of Fire. I'm here to give you a fabulous prophetic word that's also very serious. And fact of the matter, that your potential king is reminiscing on the beautiful moments that you've had together. And it's becoming quite a bit of anxiety for him and panic, because he can't get that type of unique bond combo with anybody else. He has tried, but there's a certain something that's missing. It feels not as sweet, not as serene. It doesn't, the joy of it all is just gone. And he's realized that you brought a lot to the table. You brought admiration and joy. Your charisma was contagious. Your joy was contagious. He was uplifted, and he also really enjoyed looking at you. Every time he sees you or watches you walk down a hallway or somewhere, his eyes are following you. He can't help but follow you with his gaze. And you can feel it in the spirit. You could feel it that someone's staring at you, okay? Besides also looking over, and you notice that that person is staring at you. And they're staring at you with kind eyes, with sweetheart eyes, with genuine care and love. But they haven't put a label on what they feel. They haven't said it out loud yet. So all he's doing at this moment is reminiscing. And that reminiscing is causing him grief, because he feels that he has missed his chance. The train has left, and you were on the train and you left, and you're miles and miles away. And so in this time frame, you could be feeling some heartache, some despair, even still, as you have walked away from the individual. And you had to. Please watch the other prophetic words in order so that you can understand what's going on with your life. If you were led to watch this video, it's because this video is for you. There's a message for you. Anyway, he is not the only one that's noticing you. You were put there on assignment, and it's going to be a very humbling assignment. It's purposeful for it to be humbling. In order to be raised above and promoted, you first have to be humbled to the extreme. Okay? And upon realizing you're working on this humbling project, you're actually enjoying yourself. I mean, let's say it's organizing books, or it's organizing a kitchen or something. And so you're already clean in your own house, okay? You already organized, and you love organizing, and you already enjoy doing that, so it's not really a big deal. Okay? So you have many skills. But during this time frame when you're being tested, and you have to pass this test, so you have to go through this, you're going to be given a task that's humbling. Okay? So now people are gravitated towards you. Not only is the potential king or any spouse gravitating towards you, your high frequency feminine aura vibe is like almost like a cat call. I don't know how to explain it very good, but it's kind of like this invisible force, magnetic force that's pulling people towards you, especially highly masculine men. Okay? And so you'll be working on your project and everybody is finding their way all the way down where you're at, and it's kind of out of their way, but somehow they're making their way there. And it's starting to become a little bit obvious that they only came to look at you, to gaze upon you, and to admire you. And that's what it's going to be, where you're not shouting to the rooftops for people to pay attention to you. You're not being loud. You're not wearing loud colors or anything, or you're not being overly flirtatious or anything like that. You're just actually minding your own business. You already know who you are. You're confident in yourself. Okay, you're operating in high frequency. Okay, so it's highly attractive to know who you are and to love yourself. Anyway, so of course, the potential spouse, potential king ordained spouse is already so attracted to you and notices that vibe on you, okay? Besides everybody else. That is causing some jealousy from other women who don't know what you're doing, but it's causing a lot of distraction, and it's causing them to feel like second best, which is then why you dealt with some strife later on. Okay, so now what's going on is, what he's reminiscing is, he can fix what's broken. Okay, he gives you something that this person is very attentive, very intuitive with you, and very caring, and you guys have a phenomenal conversations that go very deep. And he's very attentive, and that's what he's called the potential king, because he is a great listener. He fixes your problems in that moment, okay? And then when it becomes a little bit more intimate, he's kind of starts moving a ways, and sort of it starts becoming avoidant. Okay, so then it's like a push and pull scenario. That I really need you to pay attention to this segment here that I'm going to explain, because a lot of you have been getting into relationships, counterfeit relationships, and you're not noticing the warning signs. Okay, you're getting into relationships that feel like sometimes you're wasting your time and there's no launch, or you're getting into relationships where it's similar to what it was with the counterfeit, which is why it's a counterfeit and it didn't work out and why you guys had to break up. Okay? And a lot of people say being with a dismissive avoidant and or an anxious avoidant or a fear avoidant is fixable. And it's only fixable if that other individual who has those tendencies is able to change, wanting to change. These people don't change just for anybody. Okay? There's a lot of underlayers of work to be done. And the reason why you're not able to, it's really hard to, is because you'll probably be waiting for a lifetime for them to change. Okay? It has to be literally a supernatural intervention for them to heal from this in order for it to make it work. And they have to seek the Heavenly Father to change. Okay? Meanwhile, these are the warning signs. And you will see it in this emotional chart that I have displayed here. So when your body aches, and you're like, why are you bringing up body aching when we're talking about relationships? Because when you are with either a dismissive avoidant, fear avoidant, and or anxious and avoidant, that means they cause body pain on you because you're holding that entire relationship on your shoulders. The dismissive avoidant type of person will just be like, anytime things get difficult, they're just gone. They literally say it out loud, I'm out, I'm not doing this. Or leave you to it to figure out yourself right when it matters the most. The fear avoidant really, really do want, and the anxious avoidant really do want a intimate relationship with you. They really do love you. All of these individuals really do feel love, but the dismissive avoidant is kind of self-centered and selfish. Okay? They look out for themselves. It's like they keep you at arm's length. Nothing is very deep and emotional inclined. So you're left planning all the dates and doing everything, and it's very annoying. Okay? Heartbreaking even. So with the fear avoidant and anxious avoidant, they could be hurting their own feelings. And it's coming from a childhood wound. It's coming from a mother wound or wounded feminine energy wound. Okay? Because everybody has feminine and masculine energy. But when it's wounded, that is when it's toxic. You have to heal. So in other words, the reason why someone would do a push and pull is with someone that is fear avoidant or anxious avoidant. And you will see in the chart here of what I'm talking about. They really do want to be intimate, but it takes them a grip load of entirely almost a lifetime to trust you. And they're so scared to put themselves out there. Okay? And they try to reel you in by pushing you away. You're like, what does that mean? That doesn't make sense. Yes, they will show you many signs that they are into and like you and love you and look at you and have all the traits. And then all of a sudden, you're waiting for them to take action because you're not a chaser. And suddenly, they're stealing the show, stealing the thunder. Okay, taking on the feminine role because they're in the wounded feminine and they're wanting to be chased. And so then there you are trying to make it work, doing all the leg work, maybe all the travel, all of the date planning, all of this, all of that. The point is, it will start manifesting on your body. Okay, certain areas of your body reads pain, such as around your neck pain. If you're having some neck pain, shoulder pain, it could be separation from higher self. Head or neck pain would be separation from higher self. If you have some right side pain, it could be worrying about everything. If you have left side pain and your rib, it could mean wanting to be someone else. And you could be wanting to be someone else because you realize that this person seems to not see your value and your efforts, and they're wanting you to prove and prove and prove, and sometimes you get sucked into thinking, okay, now I do need to prove, and you already know you don't need to prove. You could just walk into a room in your high frequency feminine energy and that would be enough. Okay, but suddenly, all of a sudden, because they're so indecisive, now you think you have to do more. And when you start making yourself small, when you start stuffing it, when you start being where, let's say you don't have a job at the moment, or you do have a job, but it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest. Let's just say that, okay? And it's not showing your full potential, but meanwhile, you're making it work. You're making it work, and you are going to not let that dictate your entire persona, and you're bringing food on the table. Okay. Suddenly, that other person actually has higher credentials and could have their life going on, yet yours isn't. But you're in this predicament in the moment, just like Ruth. She has all these great attributes, and Boaz noticed her regardless of her circumstance. She was a widow, but some people look down on people because they're widows or because they're divorcees or whatever. And so now it could reflect on you that you wish you were somebody else that didn't have any problems, any discrepancies in your life, because maybe that person will take you on and love you and take action if you looked perfect. Suddenly you're feeling that. All the while, the true Boaz will scoop you up. Okay? The true Boaz will snatch you up, regardless of your history. Why? Because it will see those as those scars, those wounds as war battles that you have survived, and you are valuable. You are honorable. In other words, they're not supposed to look at you and be looking at all of your discrepancies as like a downer. In other words, they're supposed to make you feel like you're valuable no matter what, because you are. Okay? You've gone through some strife in your life. Okay, now the right side would mean, probably low back would mean you're not good enough, or fear of doing. Okay, there's something that you're fearful of. Now could be some pain in the foot, in the right foot. That means thinks power comes from controlling things. When you have hip pain, that could signify fear of going forward with big decisions, not accepting self or other or circumstances, feeling like you don't have anything to look forward to. Quite literally. Neck pain, bottled up feelings, being rigid or stubborn. Now, of course, neck pain could come from TMJ, which is clenching your teeth at night while you're sleeping. And that roots from unspoken word. So you're holding in a lot and you don't feel like you've been heard. Okay? Which could then cause neck pain. It's not always if you're stubborn in real waking life. But in case, if you're just having neck pain, and your jaw doesn't hurt or anything, you're not clenching, then typically it could mean inflexible and rigid or stubborn, or bottling up feelings. Now, so when your lower tummy area is aching, where you're feeling some cramps and you're not in the time of the month or anything like that, it could mean detached, undigested emotional feelings and shutting down, almost like some trauma. So pelvic bone area could be sex trauma. Pleasure is sinful feelings. So you could have had something in your life, even family members talking down and traumatizing you, stating while you're a child, and bringing down that sexual behavior or being sensual is naughty and let's say sinful. So then that has instilled in your brain, and so then you could feel that pain, and really it's unresolved trauma from those comments. It doesn't even have to be where you were assaulted or anything. It could also mean that you don't feel safe in the relationship that you are in, and you feel like you have to be in lockdown in that area, so it would just ache, in other words. So the muscles will contract all the time and it won't let go, because really what you're trying to do is block someone from your life entering in an intimate way, even conversely in an intimate way, because you don't feel safe. Okay? All right, so you could be feeling these are red flags, warning signs that your body is alerting you of what's going on. And you will feel it when you're interacting with certain individuals in your life. Okay? That's why pay attention. These are some warning signs. So now, as I'm contemplating this emotional chart, and I hear in the sub days, what time is it? And at that time, it was 12:25 a.m. on 5/23/2026. So I had heard to research that, and upon researching that, I heard fortified fortress, double given, which means double given. So strong numbers, Hebrew strong number 1225, it gives the word bisaron, which means a stronghold, a fortress, or a fortified place. The root word of bitsaron is to cut off, to make inaccessible, or to fortify. Okay, so in that sense already, the Most High is saying there is a stronghold there. Okay, in the fortress of the location where you had been going. And He wants you to cut ties. He wants you to cut it out of your life. Why does He want you to cut that off? Make inaccessible emotionally, physically and emotionally. Why? Because paying attention to the emotional chart, if you've been feeling aches and pains while you're interacting with that individual, you will see that it's not bringing healing, it's bringing strife. The Most High wants you to build a fortress, a fortified place, a stronghold of Him in your life, because you're going into the enemy camp, okay? And you're going to need the strength to get through. So again, because you had to go back for a little bit and then come back out, so it means divine refuge, the protection nature of the Most High. Yahuwah is your refuge and your strength. And a lot of you are seeking this refuge and strength with the potential king. But if you notice, it's not going to satisfy. It's not going to achieve that feeling, because with the push and pull scenario, they're healing you, then they're causing that pain to go all the more onto you, because then they're pulling away. And so it's causing a lot of confusion. Okay? These are some related passages. Psalms 18:2. Yahuwah is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. That's Psalms 18:2. Proverbs 18:10. The name of Yahuwah is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. Nahum 1:7. Yahuwah is good, a refuge in times of distress. He cares for those who trust in Him. Hebrews 6:18. We have fled to take hold of the hope set before us. The hope is firmly anchored. So this is the part that makes it all the more distressful, okay? Is this crush of yours, this or potential king, is showing signs of true intention with his potential acts of kindness, assistance, listening ear. Okay, and you got to be very careful that you are not creating a story in your head, and that you are living your life at face value of what it is. Because sometimes that story that you create in your head could convince you that something's going on when you're led by your heart that way, okay? But that's why you receive a prophetic word, so that you can read between the lines, okay? And you can understand that off feeling that you've been feeling, you need to listen to. And that this prophetic word is saying to not allow access, okay? So this person could be giving you little pet names, could be trying to give you affection, reaches out for your arm, could be giving you great eye contact. There's sparkly eyes. There's dilated pupils, which means a lot of excitement and attraction. They could be doing things of such, right, that would display potential interest, and what would possibly cause you to get hooked and drag on the matter all the more. Now, again, reminiscing. This individual is reminiscing on how he has done some outreach towards you. He has been reminiscing with the conversations that you had, learning that you are a very caring person and you do not mind to serve the public, even with your free of charge. Okay? And he sees these attributes that are phenomenal about you. And he's starting to finally, I guess, convinced that you are a very caring person, which is one of the things on his list that he had about you. Okay? Yet, the stronghold is your Heavenly Father. Okay? If you focus on that and you stay in tune with the prophetic word and your prayer life, you will not get your time wasted. And you will be crystal clear on what is going to happen in your love life. Okay? So the Most High is saying just a minute in the sub days. And he's saying, me, Mayim, you're mine. And me, yeah, you're me, I mean, means living waters. Your mind. So he doesn't want you to lean upon the person to be in your stronghold. He wants you to be fortified within the Most High. Okay? Because you are learning of this after you've already had to cut this person off all together. And you are learning of this after you've received many bajillion signs that he's so into you. Yet why not the launch? And that's because of many, many reasons regarding the potential of somebody is not actual somebody. The real Boaz, the real ordained spouse, is not going to string you along. It's not going to waste your time. They're going to take action quite immediately. Okay? And that's just the fact of the matter. Is pay attention to your body signaling you what feels safe and what doesn't feel safe. What you're desperately wanting it to feel safe, but then your body's saying it doesn't still feel safe. Okay? Because sometimes it's you that hasn't healed all the way, and sometimes it's your body recognizing something is familiar of your past that didn't work out, and it's trying to warn you that this isn't it. And there are two coming for you, yes. Besides the counterfeit relationship you had in the past, everybody wants you. You're like a magnetic force of, you are literally the best thing that's ever happened to these individuals. But just because they want you doesn't mean that you go and give them a chance. Just because they're crying for you now and they're missing you, it doesn't mean that you give them a chance, okay? So listen to this prophetic word.
They are in shock the moment they realize they messed up with you. There is always a moment when reality becomes impossible to avoid. For them, that moment did not happen while you were still around. It did not happen when you were explaining yourself or asking for honesty or trying to make the relationship work. They were too comfortable then. They believed that they had time. They believe you would adjust like you always had. The shock came later. The shock actually did come later. It happened when they realized they kept moving, but you were no longer part of it, right? And so at first, they probably didn't think much of it, right? They assumed you needed space. They expected a phone call, a message, or some reason to reconnect. They believed the distance was just temporary because they had convinced themselves you could never fully let them go. Then something started bothering them. Days passed, right? Days passed, nothing from you. Weeks passed, nothing from you, right? And that silence slowly became impossible to ignore. For the first time, they had to consider a thought that they had been avoiding. What if, what if they are really done? Like, what if you are really done? And that question changed everything. Now they can't stop thinking about all the things they ignored when they had the chance, right? Because they remember how quickly they dismissed your feelings. They remember the conversation they cut short because they didn't think your concerns mattered. They remember the times you asked for the bare minimum and they acted as if you were asking for too much. And back then, those moments seemed unimportant, right? And so now they feel like the exact moment that changed the future was that those moments they took for granted. That is where the shock comes from. They genuinely believed they understood you. They thought they knew how much you would tolerate. They thought they knew exactly how far they could push before you finally walked away. They were wrong. Yes, they were wrong. Now they are struggling with something they never prepared for. Regret mixed with uncertainty. They don't know whether you would even listen if they reached out. They don't know if they waited too long. They don't know whether the opportunity they took for granted still exists. That uncertainty keeps bothering them. People often think the hardest part is losing someone. Sometimes the hardest part is not knowing whether the damage can ever be repaired. That is exactly where they are.
Thank you for tuning in to my channel, Redeeming Thunder and Daughters of Fire. This is Purpose and Promise with Judith. They're in shock because they realize they messed up with you. And their avoidance tendencies went too far. And they want to reach back out to you, but they don't know if you're going to accept them back. Don't forget to like and subscribe and send to those who need to desperately hear this. I'll see you on the next video. Shalom.